to In My Mug, episode 337 on Monday, the 27th of April 2015. I am your host, Stephen Layton. Welcome to In My Mug. Let's do some news. So, bad news to start off with. Some of our blend prices are going to be going up. You will also see the starter packs. They've kind of come a bit detached from all of the single origins because we haven't, like 4 years since I last did a price rise. There's lots of reasons for it and too many to list here, but if you go to go.hasbeen.co.uk/price rise, you will find out all the info. That links up on the screen there too. It is not done with without a great deal of thought, but it had to be done. I told you about this last week. I'm going to tell you about it then this week. Standard, it is a quarterly paperback. It is £10, but it is like buying a book. It is beautiful. You should really check it out. I actually think it's a very, very pretty piece of journalism, and you should, if you love coffee, you will like it. We're not making millions out of it, I can promise you. It's more than I want it to become something that we can talk about on here every time a new one comes out, and I think it's a nice thing to own. Are your lips chapped? Do you need to help a farmer to get pulp back to the farm for fertiliser? Then we have just the product for you. Ding! We have the lip balms now on the website. I talked about these a couple of weeks ago, but Alejandro Martinez of Finca, Argentina, wants to move the pulp from the mill back to the farm. The cost of this is around about £1,000. So we've had some lip balms made. We've got about 250 of them. Made from his coffee from the San Jorge part of the farm, and every single penny from them will go to move the pulp back. I think it's a great thing. You should go to go.hasbeen.co.uk/lips and go check out those. £2.50 and every penny will go to help move that pulp. And that was the news. So this week's focus is on the town of Pitalito. So Pitalito is a Colombian municipality located in the south of the department of Huila, in the valley of the Rio de Grande de Magdalena. It's 180 kilometers from Nieva and is known as the Valley of Lesbos. It's the second largest city in the department, with 150,000 people living there, Nieva being the biggest. It's also kind of got a bit of a name now. It's become the largest coffee producer in the country, with around about 12,000 hectares of coffee planted, and really some of not just quantity but quality. Some of the most amazing coffees seem to be coming out of this area. The Cup of Excellence auction is this week, and we are seeing lots of them come out of this particular city. It's almost become like the Santa Ana or the Huehuetenango of Colombia, and it's definitely somewhere that's very hot at the moment. We also have La Chorilla from there. These two are probably my favourite Colombians of this year. They really are that special. Yeah, that was Focus On. We should go and talk about the coffee. So I don't know how good you can remember, but we had a coffee about 2-3 years ago called Pitalito Oparapa, and it was a mix of 11 producers from Pitalito and Oparapa, and their coffees had come together. We picked it out from the blind cup in, was really good. This kind of struck us as a bit of an idea that we'd like to maybe develop some of the relationships of these people, and this is the third person we've been able to pull out of that group. A guy's called Adair Perdomo. He owns a farm called Buena Vista in Pitalito, which, as I've said, is in Huila. He's 34 years old, so fairly young guy to be in coffee, but he's worked in coffee his whole life. His parents also own the neighbouring farm. But the last couple of years, he's really been trying to focus on quality, persevering with the Caturra varietal when lots of people are ripping it out and planting the higher yield in Colombia. The farm is set in the most beautiful place. You're going to see this in the map bit, and it is gorgeous, and it's at 1,700 metres above sea level. And it really is picture perfect. But there's something a little bit different happening on this farm. His family are growing coffee. They've always grown it. They've always done it the same way. He likes to experiment. So he is he's persevering with Caturra, for instance, while his family are planting this Colombia and Sachimore. But also with the processing, Adair is doing something weird with the processing. So he has these big blue tubs, and the blue tubs, he puts the pulped coffee into the tubs. Then he seals up the tubs, which is kind of giving it this kind of controlled, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like a controlled fermentation. So it is, the word will come to me in a minute, but it's basically slowing it down, so it's stopping other bacteria that's in the air, speeding up that fermentation time. Then 24 hours he takes it out and he washes the coffee, and as he would normally do. Now, over the last couple of years, his scores have been relatively like 84, 85, 86, and we've noticed this year, since he's been doing this, it's going to bug me now. He's been doing this process that he's been scoring 87s, 88s, 89s, and even 90s. He's really been doing well. So he's been working hard, and we felt it was important to reward that. So like what we're doing with Pedro Claros from La Chorilla, we've set up a deal with him that if he gets coffees that score 86, we'll give him a really good price. If he gets coffees that score 87 to 89, we'll give him an even better price. And anything over 89, he's getting a ridiculously high price, which has meant that we've ended up with some very special lots. This coffee was used this year by the Italian barista champion in the WBC finals. First round, he was in second place in the first round. In the semi-finals, he didn't do quite so good, but this wasn't the coffee, this was barista issues and competition issues. But it just shows that it's a really special lot, and it's this lot that we're presenting to you today. I think it's really good when we can kind of get that level of detail and that level of feedback to Adair. So when things happen differently, he goes back to his diary and he says, why did that get a 91? Okay, well, I did this differently that day. And it's helping him to learn, but it's also helping us to get better coffee. So we should go through the figures. It's a course from Colombia. It is from the Department of Huila, from the town of Pitalito. It is produced by a guy called Adair Perdomo. His farm is called Finca Buena Vista. It has an altitude of 1,700 metres above sea level. It is a fully washed, using a anaerobic style of dry fermentation, and it's a style, not anaerobic, because anaerobic is something that's a lot more complicated, and it is a Caturra varietal. I'm going to whap you on pause. No, I'm not. I'm going to go and do the map bit first. I'm jumping ahead of myself. And the clouds stopped us getting a great map bit this week, but we got a little trick up the sleeve to make it a bit better. Still waving. Always waving. Very smiley too, don't you think? I must be very happy with the map bit. We are going up and away, and we are going right the way to South America, where we've been spending a lot of time recently. And do you know what? I make no apologies for such a thing, as South America has some fine coffees. This time of year, we're seeing Brazil's, we're seeing Bolivia's, but we're also seeing Colombia's be at their very, very best. We're still waiting for a lot of those centrals to arrive, so it's a great time to be focusing on these ones. So Colombia is the only country in South America that has access to both Pacific and Caribbean oceans, and a lot of that is because they've been very strong in hanging on to their land, when countries around them were very willy-nilly giving it away. So we are looking here at Buena Vista. Buena Vista is near to the town of Pitalito, which you can see to the right. So it's just above Pedro Claros's, where Pedro Claros is below, Buena Vista is above. And here, unfortunately, it's a little bit of a cloudy day on Google Satellite, which makes me very, very sad, which means that you can't see some of the amazing views. But like magic, I have some video. So here you can see that's the Magdalena River, and here we've got Adair talking to the mill manager, and he's giving him some agronomic advice there on what he needs to do. But just look at the view in the background. That's the thing I want you to focus on. That house there is Adair's parents' house, and he lives just at the top of the hill. Here we've got all of the trees, and again, you can see we never miss an opportunity to give a producer a chance to talk to clever people. So I'm just standing in the background while he does all of the talking. But you can see it's on the very ridge of this mountain, and it kind of folds over the top of the ridge, which means that it really does get protected, but also morning and afternoon sun, it changes, so it's always getting kind of not sustained heat but gradual heat, which is good for the plants. So the lowest point is the Pacific Ocean at sea level, and the highest is Pico Cristobal : at 5775 meters above sea level. And that was quite cool map bit, I think.
Colombia is the third biggest coffee producer in the world, but interestingly they produce only Arabica. Very little Robusta, if any at all, where the other two, Vietnam and Brazil, produce tons of the stuff.
Roland's got back onto coffee facts. Yay! Yeah, so really interesting that, coffee production in Colombia, pretty much everything is Arabica, whereas Robusta, virtually non-existent, but Brazil and Vietnam, there is tons and tons of the stuff. Vietnam, that's all they produce. So I'm going to whack you on pause. I'm going to go and get tasty and delicious drinks. I'll be back with you in just a second. Back! Time for espresso. I'm actually really ready for this at the minute as well. So, this isn't a Brazil. First thing to say, very obvious, a Colombian isn't a Brazil. But this, we're talking about, I love espressos that are sweet and chocolatey and smooth. This ain't that. Yes, it has some caramel sweetness to it, really interesting, but what hits you more than anything is like a green apple acidity right at the front. Like boom, 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 boom. And it carries on in the aftertaste. In the middle, you get a little bit this kind of smoother caramel. That's really good. As an espresso, that is very different to what I like as an espresso, but I like it because I like it. So, I like it because I like it. I like it because it's different. Let's go into milk. So here, we're losing a little bit, because the acidity's been muted by that smooth, sweet milk, and the coffee's not pairing through there. I don't actually think it's a great cappuccino. Nothing wrong with the skills of making the cappuccino. Chris has done a great job, but it's just not a cappuccino coffee for my taste buds. It really, it just leaves me a bit disappointed. I don't like being disappointed, but I'm sure here I won't be disappointed because I love my brewed coffee. So all of that green apple, all of that front end green apple is there. If I'm going to criticise it on the brewed for anything, is that sweetness isn't as powerful as it is in the espresso. So it's a little bit all acidity. It's a one-trick pony. It's a little bit one-dimensional. It's like zing, and I'm thinking like Granny Smith juicy kind of, and you get that burst of juiciness, and it is a juicy coffee. But I think, it kind of disappoints me a little bit compared to the espresso. The espresso, it's phenomenal. I would love to get Adair to try and do some of this non-anaerobic and anaerobic and try them side by side. I think that could be really interesting. But part of me says it's like, this is working for him. We shouldn't really mess with what's working for him. And I think it's a great coffee. It's one that we're going to sign a longer term agreement with Adair going forwards. And we're very proud of the work we're doing with him. And you should be very proud of buying the coffee that allows us to do the work with him. So thank you. Right. Time to wrap up. Thank you very much as always for joining me. And do remember, life is too short for bad coffee.